Hi, I'm Mark, and this is Let's Vibe, the channel where we talk about our feelings. And in this video, I wanted to talk about feelings in connection with one of the most common and most popular crystals out there, and that would be rose quartz. So, as you can see, rose quartz, and tell by the name, it's a pink variety of quartz, usually a fairly light pink. And this is a small rose quartz pillar. Rose quartz pieces can come in all manner of sizes. It's easy to find really big pieces, large pillars and spheres and other types of sculptures. And obviously, the bigger the piece, the more expensive it is. So I tend to go small and just save money and space. But also, always remember that with stones and crystals, it doesn't really matter so much the size of the crystal. A smaller crystal like this can be just as effective as a bigger one. And honestly, those big, those large pieces that you see at crystal shops, they can be really expensive. So I just think it's makes more sense to go small, especially if you know, you're buying the stone for metaphysical, energetic purposes. You know, if it's for more of an aesthetic thing, that might make more sense. But when it comes to energy, size really doesn't matter. Oops. Sorry. No. No. So this is my rose quartz pillar. Um, Rose quartz uh, is considered like perhaps the most important stone for the heart. This rose pink color or this light pink color, it resonates very powerfully with the heart chakra or the higher heart chakra. Um, Rose quartz, it's I would say it's a stone that should be taken seriously when being used um, for healing or energy purposes, because the kind of love, so as the name might imply and as the color suggests, um, rose quartz is all about love, which is why it would resonate with the heart chakra and higher heart chakra. And it's not just a romantic kind of love. Rose quartz has more of an unconditional, universal type of love. So, in that sense, I feel like, for all of its popularity and, you know, commonality, this stone has serious vibes. Vibrations of loving vibrations, especially from a stone like rose quartz. These are the kinds of vibrations that can, yes, they can feel good and they can feel very comforting and soothing. And definitely, rose quartz has very soothing vibrations, emotionally and physically. However, if we're honest with ourselves, and if we pay close attention to the way that we're feeling and the kinds of emotional reactions we have, often loving vibes and unconditional love can touch on some sore places within us. I mean, if you think about it, it's not entirely surprising. If you think about it, everybody has wounds, inner wounds, um, emotional wounds, mental wounds. Everybody's got something. And love, you know, aside from being just something very powerful, um, love is a healing vibration for all wounds, especially in the context of rose quartz. This is kind of like the all around healer. Any kind of wound or trauma, rose quartz can address that with its energy. But the truth is when we address any kind of wound, the hurt of that wound will come to the surface, and it doesn't feel good, obviously. Basically you're kind of going through the feelings of the wound once again. Except this time, if you push through, if you do the work, if you take the time, um, if you push through, you'll get to a place of peace and healing. Um, but it can be hard. So that's why I would recommend taking rose quartz seriously, because um, simply because the healing process can hurt. And it actually took me a while to um, spend time with rose quartz. I honestly, when I first started collecting stones and meditating with stones, um, I wasn't immediately drawn to rose quartz. I would even say in some cases the energy of rose quartz kind of repelled me a little bit. It just, I felt like I was pushing away from it. And I think that was because this stone is all about healing. And yes, of course I want healing. Why would anyone not want healing? Well, because healing often hurts. It's a it goes against our natural logic, our natural instinct to, we equate healing with feeling good, feeling well. But we forget that the process of getting to that place of wellness and peace, the process is so often, I mean, in my own experience, the process has always been painful, or at least uncomfortable. Now, um, so I can definitely say that meditating with rose quartz touches on areas that are uncomfortable. It can. It doesn't have to. That's not a rule, but it can touch those sore places. And as always, I'm always going to recommend that you have some kind of support in your life if you're doing um, work on your own emotions, if you're wanting to look at those sore areas. Make sure you have some kind of support, a trusted friend, a therapist, some kind of mentor, because you don't want to go about it all by yourself. That's not a good idea. um, but so setting aside all of that, I will say that rose quartz has a very peaceful vibration, and it's a very, like I said, this isn't just romantic love, although rose quartz is great for drawing in that kind of romance into your life. I think that's what attracts a lot of people to this stone. I think that's probably why this stone is very popular, because it is all about romantic love and finding a partner or a lover. But it also has that spiritual side, that higher love. And when I say higher love, I'm talking like unconditional love, universal love, connecting to God or Source. Um, that real, it's a high vibration love. Um, and that's something that I'm even, still getting acquainted with. Um, I haven't always been, you know, familiar with that kind of vibration, but it's a very, very, very beautiful vibration. Um, I like to, if when I meditate with this stone, I like to imagine being surrounded by this light pink color and really just being immersed in it. It's a very comforting feeling, it's a very peaceful feeling. And this stone helps you learn about loving yourself. And that's another kind of vibration. See, that's a different sort of vibration from, say, romantic love with a partner, or higher love on a universal scale. The vibration of self-love, that rose quartz can also help with that. It can teach you what that feels like, what self-love feels like. And again, just like with the higher vibration love, that was also, or that has also been, a kind of vibration and a kind of love that I wasn't really that familiar with. That's not something that we're taught. And in many cases, we're kind of discouraged from that kind of love in some ways. It's complex, obviously, but I just think it's an important part of rose quartz, the self-love aspect, because as they say, you really can't love anyone else until you know how to love yourself. You can't give love to others if you aren't able to give yourself love. And it's a tough kind of lesson. It's hard to learn that. It's hard um, to experience, actual self-love and self-care and compassion in today's society, at least. But rose quartz can definitely help you um, with that kind of goal. Now, rose quartz, I was thinking about the vibration of rose quartz, this very loving vibration. And I thought of a song by an Italian opera singer. His name's Andrea Bocelli. He's quite famous, pretty well known around the world. He's put out a lot of albums over the years, and some of his albums, especially some of his earlier albums back in the 90s, they were classical pop albums. So he doesn't just do opera, because I'm not really I'm not really a fan of opera, Italian opera or French or any kind of opera. It's not really my type of music or performance. But Andrea Bocelli does have his classical pop songs, and those I've always loved. I think they're great songs, and some of them are very romantic. I picked out this one song called Voglio restare così, and I think that this song fits rose quartz perfectly. So I will include a link down in the description box to Andrea Bocelli's Voglio restare così. And as always, I encourage you to leave a comment or question below the video. And once again, thank you so much for vibing with me.